Pipes Around the House. In this video I'm going to show you how to change and replace a standard 3-pin plug like this one. If you've got a plug like that, you won't be able to replace it, as this is a sealed unit and the only thing you can do with this is replace a fuse. However, if you've got a plug like that where the screw heads are visible, then we can unscrew these screws, take the front off and get access to the plug. That allows us to disconnect the cable and replace the plug if the plug is broken. We can also access the fuse in the same way. The first thing to do is undo the screws on your plug. Now this screw will take the face off the plug and these two screws hold the cable clamp in place. So let's start with this one. Just use our screwdriver. We then have access to the inside of the plug. You can see inside the plug we got our earth cable, which is the yellow and green. We got a neutral cable, which is the blue, and we got a live cable, which is the brown. Now if you have what's known as a double insulated appliance and plug, you'll find that you won't have an earth lead. So don't panic. If you've only got a neutral and you've only got a live, just replace them in exactly the same way you find the old plug. This just means that the plug and appliance has been designed so that you can't get an electric shock from the casing of the plug. Hence the earth wire is then not required. So to undo the cables, let's release these 3 brass screws. To make removal easier, these pins do move in and out. So just push them up and it gives you a bit more room to release the screws. Once you've undone your screws, you can just release the cables by pulling them out of the brass fittings. Like that. Just use your screwdriver to help you if need be. Then to undo the cable clamp by there, turn the plug around and undo these 2 screws. You can see the cable clamp has now released. You can now remove the cables from the brass fittings and the cable is free. If you look here, you've got an E there which represents the earth, which is the yellow and green, and that is that terminal. You've got the N which represents neutral, which is the blue cable, and that is that terminal. And if you look there, you've got an L which represents the live, which is the brown cable, and that is that terminal. And it's always on the live that you'll find the fuse. If you take a look at the other side of the plug, it's also labelled up the same. So you've got the earth, the neutral, and the live. If you're adding a plug to a new piece of cable or flex, you're going to need to strip the end of the cable first. I like to do this using my CK wire strippers, and I'll review these in another video. We're a bit tight for space inside the plug, so if you find it easier, just remove the terminal and attach the cable with the terminal out of the plug. So this one's the earth, so I can start with that. Once your screw is out far enough, just take the cable, push it into the terminal, hold that in place, take the screwdriver and tighten up. You can then slot that back into the plug like that. Then take your neutral cable, place that into the neutral terminal and just tighten up. Finally, we need to place the live cable into the live terminal. Same again, just push the cable into the terminal and tighten up. Now just make sure all your terminals are pushed back into place correctly. Once this is done, we need to tighten up the cable clamp by there. To do this, take your cable clamp with the curve that way, place it over your screws, turn the plug around and tighten your screws back into the cable clamp. When you tighten the cable clamp, ensure that it is going over the outer sheath of the cable and not over the wires inside, as this secures the cable and stops these wires pulling out of the terminals. Just line the back of the plug up with the front of the plug and clip into place like that. Then push your screw back into the hole and just tighten the screw up, securing the plug back into place. And that's how to change a plug. Simple. That was a bit more advanced than changing a fuse. Come on. For more DIY, how-to, household tips and product review, please watch my other videos and don't forget to subscribe. I've been Pipes Around the House. Ta-ta, farewell.